What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Friday, January 31st, the last Friday of the month and the last day of the month. And we are back with another live here on the Torian Rain Reloaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you are new. And if you are new to the channel, I'm glad that you are all here. So as y'all see by the title, and I actually kind of spoiled it for y'all last week and said that this week I was going to talk about the shooting that happened in Antioch at the hands of Solomon Henderson. And let me tell you something right now. This story right here got wilder and wilder and more wilder the more and more I continue to look up stuff to talk about this evening. But before we get into all of that, let me go ahead and acknowledge the people who are here in the chat so far. We got Queen Imani, we got Wallow J, Hacksign KT, DSA1, Inspired Truth Broadcast, Miss Nisi, Dark Titan 7, Panther Strike, D Money, Thurston, Letitia, Valesia, Yasuke, Eddie, RDRD, and Reparations Nation. Shout out to each and every one of you. Oh, Miss Nisi, I already know about it. I found out yesterday. One of my people on Patreon sent me the actually no, I think it was Cosmo that posted it in our group chat. He has sent it to me. So I think it was you. I think like 3 people sent it to me. I already know about it. I'm gonna talk about that in the live stream. That is a whole live right there. And I know you want in on that one because you live in West Virginia. But yeah, I learned about it and they got exactly what they deserved. They didn't slip up with that one. But then I was sitting there saying to myself, it's no way they could have messed that one up. They really couldn't. So we got Zavon is in the building. We got Kid Gravity. No, in Tennessee, Thurston. We got Malka. We got Brother Man to You. Shout out to Kaya for subscribing to the channel. And that is it so far. And shout out to anyone else who's going to come in between now and the end of this stream. And if you don't make it to the stream, make sure to watch the replay. So as we all know, about a week and a half ago, there was a mass shooting that happened at an Antioch High School at the hands of this kid by the name of Solomon Henderson. And whenever we hear of a shooting at a school, our minds immediately run to, PC, because typically they are the ones that overwhelmingly commit these type of acts. But to find out that one, it was a black kid that did it, it caught some people by surprise. But none more than when it got discovered, the mindset of this kid. I think that was more shocking than the actual finding out that he was black in itself. Because when people started learning things about him and the stuff that he was into and his mindset and who he was inspired by, I think that caused everybody to just like get their wig blown back, so to speak. I'm just paraphrasing. Then you find out who he was inspired by and the stuff that he was saying. And it's like, who was watching this kid? It was very bizarre. Like, when I started pulling stuff up, it got even, like I said, it got even more crazier. But what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and play. Well, I downloaded the audio from a news clip that's going to go in about his 288-page diary that he wrote. And I don't have the actual visual of the news clip because I don't know how copyrighted, so I just download the audio and just put his picture up over it, and y'all will just hear it. Like I said, it's about 9 minutes long, so strap in. I think this is the only video that I have, but then everything else is pretty much article based.
Thanks, Nikki. More new details from Metro Police today, who tell us the shooter, Solomon Henderson, had an online diary tracking his thoughts as he planned the attack. News Channel 5 chief investigative reporter Phil Williams has been combing through a lengthy memo the 17-year-old left behind. Obviously, we don't want to glorify the shooter or the violence, but sharing what Phil discovered could help us all better understand why this happened. He learned hate may have led to this senseless tragedy, with the so-called manifesto filled with vile words about African Americans and Jews.
We have a black kid expressing white supremacist ideas.
Have you ever seen that before?
This wouldn't be the first time that a person of color shackled themselves to a white supremacist movement. In my experience as a researcher, this is one of the most extreme cases I've ever seen of it.
Jared Holt's job is to track hate and extremism, a skill set that in the hours after the Antioch High School shooting came into play, thanks to a 51-page manifesto left behind by shooter Solomon Henderson, seen here wearing a T-shirt for a neo-Nazi band. The manifesto, with the title "We Cannot Show on Television," declared the West has fallen. Billions must die. Accelerate, accelerate, accelerate. Words that Holt says represent the worst of the world of hate.
These are communities that encourage not only mass murder and genocidal fantasies, but also destruction of things like critical infrastructure.
So they're talking about bringing about the collapse of society and then creating their own utopia?
Essentially, yeah. They do not believe that democratic government will ever get them the kind of ethnic superiority or ethnic dominance that they want.
Included in the manifesto are some anti-Semitic claims made by the...
Oh, let me pause it right quick. Ms. Nisi, they actually did. I actually went on to... when I typed it in, I looked it up. I don't think it's the whole thing, but it's a piece of it. I don't even know if I want to bring up. I don't think I can bring up on the screen what it said in this thing. Shoot, the title of the manifesto is very self-hating. I'm just paraphrasing. The title of his manifesto is called "The N-Word Cell," and with the R, the hard R, NIGGER Cell Manifesto. That's the title of it. That should tell you right there where that's headed, just on the title alone. I might read it, but I might, you know what? When it gets to that point, when I get more further into it, I'll read it, but I have to paraphrase some of the stuff because some of the stuff is very, very, very extreme.
Goyim Defense League, the group we confronted last summer when they created a scene on the streets of Nashville. Holt cautions against reading too much into that, at least for now.
One way or another, this shooter came across this flyer and recognized it as something he thought might be great to include in his manifesto.
Then there are the manifesto's claims that Henderson was radicalized by conservative commentator Candace Owens, which Holt says appears to have been lifted from a notorious mass murderer's own manifesto.
The line about Candace Owens radicalizing him is very lightly modified copy and paste from the Christchurch manifesto.
Holt says all this suggests that Henderson may have ventured into some of the darkest parts of the internet where hate and murder are glorified, only to have lost his way out. That's Chief Investigative Reporter Phil Williams reporting. Another question still unanswered tonight. Who, if anyone, knew about Henderson's plan? The manifesto does mention someone helping him write part of it. And Jared Holt, you just saw there, says extremists in online communities identified him as the shooter before police did. Again, as we've mentioned, the teen shooter left behind a lengthy diary, giving even more insight into his thoughts leading up to the shooting. Now News Channel 5 investigates reporter Levi Ismail went through page by page and tells us what he found.
It's the first 4 words of a more than 288-page diary, but it sets the tone for everything you read after. Those words, quote, "I'm burning with hate." From October of last year to the day he carried out his attack at Antioch High School, 17-year-old Solomon Henderson filled these pages with graphic images, Nazi symbols, and plans to carry out an attack.
Right, KG, a diary. Okay, if y'all want to call it a diary, so be it.
Henderson obsessed over mass killers around the world and declared that he, too, intends on doing something to kill at least 10 people. But how does this young man go from active high school student to active shooter?
If we just look at it broadly, a lot of people that have carried out these sort of acts have felt othered.
Lauren Ruth Martin is a licensed therapist with novel counseling in Franklin.
We could go, scientifically for a minute. Our brains aren't fully developed when we're 17. Our brains are actually on fire. And so not a lot makes sense, and decision-making is altered.
Martin says this is not about trying to humanize someone responsible for committing a horrible crime, but understanding how we got here. Henderson, by his own admission, fought with his parents and even wrote in his diary about killing them at one point. Struggles with his self-image and resentment over minorities were only amplified once Henderson found community and a sense of belonging with white supremacy groups online.
And this is why, you know what, before this even happened, I didn't mean to stop it. Before this even happened, I said to myself, that's why you have to be very, when it comes to dealing with these tap dancers and the stuff that they say about us all the time, he was definitely locked in. He was all the way locked in. And that's why when people think of people like Amroth Foodell and Terrence K. Williams and Candace Owens and Fakem and all the other people we've talked about over the time and how they act and how they talk, let them get extreme enough and they might turn into this. His self-hate ran to the core so bad that he did what he did.
It's a perfect storm. In online communities, you can also access those in a private way. You get to be the person that you want to project out there online without anybody truly questioning it.
Henderson.
And I think what's also crazy about it too is he was only 17. He was only 17. So he was born in the early 2000s. Well, going towards the end of the early 2000s and almost getting ready to segue into the 2010s.
Often wrote things like, quote, "I wish I was white. Self-hating N-word award goes to," with a picture of his eyes.
If we just focus on that idea of being uncomfortable in your own skin, can you imagine how helpless that must feel? Because you literally can't change that.
Another photo appeared to show Henderson in whiteface, but all while this self-hatred is happening, Henderson continues to plan out his attack. He details instructions on how to make bombs and even bought supplies. He then wrote that it made sense to attack during lunch and specifically made note of days when he expected there to be more people of color around.
Yeah, so that was his intent. And he said during lunch. Who remembers when with Columbine that happened during lunch? Because that's when, like he said, that's when the most people are around, because most people in the cafeteria at that time.
Just days before the shooting, Henderson began to spiral. He wrote, "I'm slipping," and talked about being nervous, scared, and excited at the same time. Henderson posted a final selfie with the caption, "4 hours to go."
I think it's scary for us to acknowledge that given the perfect storm of circumstances, we don't know what we would resort to if we were in that much pain and we had access to such things like guns.
Martin says while there are many nuances on how Henderson became radicalized enough to kill, this is a man who found connection in hate, and that should never be ignored.
We're not humanizing him, but what we're using is this information to better inform how we can see people, how we can help people, how we can make our communities safer.
With News Channel 5 Investigates, I'm Levi Ismail.
Thanks, Levi. So sad and disturbing. Levi also found that at one point, Henderson wrote that police were at his home, found a gun, one he says his dad took the blame for. It's not clear when or if this happened, but we do know Metro Nashville police are investigating the writings and others to learn what they can about the shooter and his motivations. Now, also tonight, we have learned the shooter did live stream the attack using the site Kick. Platform leaders can
Not surprised that he used Kick to live stream.
confirm this and say violence has no place on their platform. They add Henderson's account was banned, the video removed, and they are actively working with law enforcement to help them with their investigation. Thanks, Nikki.
All right, so that's the whole audio clip right there. It actually went through a whole lot faster than I thought it would. So now everything else that we're going to go through tonight involving this is just going to be article based. So the first thing I want to bring up is this article right here coming from the Post. It says Nashville school gunman, age 17, who killed teen girl appeared to be, quote, a self-loathing incel, ADL says. And I got some words for the ADL because remember, they gave Elon a pass for what he did at the inauguration, but I got some words for them in an upcoming video, so stay locked in for that. It's amazing. They immediately condemned what he did and what he said, but they gave Elon a pass. Okay. But let's go ahead and get into it. The 17-year-old Nashville school shooter who killed a teenage girl before turning the gun on himself allegedly left a dark trail of hateful online postings and appeared to be a, quote, self-loathing incel, according to the Anti-Defamation League. Teen shooter Solomon Henderson expressed a wide array of troubling views in a purported manifesto and on social media before gunning down 16-year-old Jocelyn Correa Escalante at Antioch High School on Wednesday. What happens on the incel forums is that, quote, people of color are told the only reason they're incels is because of their color, and so it pushes them toward other extreme ideology that he apparently took on, according to Hill, and she's a representative for the ADL. This is what they're saying. He picked up anti-Semitism. He posted a lot of anti-Black content because of that internalized racism, said Hill, who was senior director of investigative research at the organization. The ADL, in a fuller report issued Thursday, stated it believed Henderson self-identified as a mental cell, which is someone who is involuntary celibate based on an intellectual or learning disability. Metro Nashville police said Wednesday night investigators were probing very concerning online writings and social media posts as they attempt to determine a motive behind the attack that was partially streamed online. Escalante was fatally shot inside the cafeteria of the school, and another student was grazed in the arm. Henderson then fatally took himself out before a confrontation with the police. Alleged online writings reviewed by outlets included Henderson stating that he was ashamed to be Black. Other materials tied to Henderson obtained by the station included a layout of Antioch High School, photos of handguns, and cartridges to load the weapon. Henderson also posted anti-Semitic writings and posted a flyer from the Goyim Defense League, which is a neo-Nazi white supremacy group, WTVF reported. I was so miserable I wanted to off myself, he also allegedly wrote at one point. I just couldn't take any more. I am a worthless subhuman, a living, breathing disgrace. All my in real life friends outgrew me, act like they didn't effing know me. Being me was so effing humiliating. That's why I spent all day disassociating. He also had a photo of the Covenant school shooter who took out 3 children and 3 staffers in 2023 before taking out herself. Purported writings reported on the Tennessean included statements against race mixing with a desire to take revenge on society. Henderson also had statements praising the stash. Y'all know who I'm talking about when I said the stash. And jarring photos from past school shootings, the newspaper reported. The ADL Center on Extremism, it reviewed the purported manifesto and social media posts from the shooter, as well as a forum he allegedly participated in that promoted white supremacy and accelerationism, which is the desire to see a hastening of the collapse of modern society, according to the civil rights organization. He is an incel. He is in an incel form that's telling him that he's an incel because he's Black. No one wants you because you're Black, Hill of the ADL said on one online space. The alleged manifesto from Henderson contained a list of soft targets, including the Sombreritos, Muslims, immigrants, and the academy. The fact that Antioch shooter appears to have been active in multiple obscure and extreme online spaces highlights a troubling trend. Young people are increasingly finding interconnected online networks that are shaping violence and extremism, fueling real-world tragedies. The shooter partially live-streamed the shooting to the online platform Kick, which was already established in the audio y'all heard. And this is, we extend our thoughts to everyone impacted by this event. Violence has no place on Kick, and we are actively working with law enforcement and taking all appropriate steps to support their investigation. So there is that particular article right there. Thurston, who are you referencing in the chat? Because you said, why would you talk about this? They don't. So that's that first article right there. The next one we're going to go over is the one where he starts name dropping people in his manifestos, not the manifesto itself, but who he mentioned. Of course, we know one of the main ones he mentioned was Candace Owens, which is why she's plastered right there on the front. Nashville high school shooters manifesto says Candace Owens, quote unquote, influenced him. But look what it says underneath that. The shooter also named Kanye West as someone who taught him, quote, violence and extremism. Now, let's really think about that part for a second. Kanye West, who has been making music, whether his own music or music for other people, for years prior to him losing his mind and, quote unquote, making chess moves, let some people tell it. You got influenced by him, if not by his music, but because of what he started to say later on, and when he started hanging out with Candace Owens. That's what influenced you? Yeah, that's insane. All right, thanks for getting Thurston up out of there, because I said that person is definitely trolling. So let's see what they're talking about on here. Well, let me read this update first. It says, on Thursday, January 22nd, the ADL Center on Extremism analyzed the documents attributed to Solomon Henderson and found that the writings are authentic. However, some of the content was plagiarized from various far-right manifestos and publications, including Terragram Collective, a white supremacist group, and a manifesto by Matthew Harris, as per the... I can't even pronounce that name. Now, look at this right here. Here's a response from Candace right here. You know what? Let me go through the article first before I read her response. I think that would be the best way to do it. Nashville's Antioch High School shooter allegedly wrote in his manifesto that Candace Owens inspired his actions. New information has been revealed regarding the alleged gunman on Wednesday, January 22nd, with News Channel 5 Nashville reporting that the Metro Nashville Police Department have identified the shooter as Solomon Henderson. The 17-year-old black student is accused of shooting and killing Jocelyn Escalante, age 16, and injuring other students before taking his life in the school's cafeteria. Henderson manifesto showcases the gear he used in the attack, including a handgun, a lockpick, and a blueprint of the school's layout. Solomon gushed about Owens' right-wing concepts and conspiracy theories in the writings, asserting that she, Candace Owens, influenced me above all each time she spoke. However, the political commentator wasn't the only one named on his list of people who radicalized him the most. Solomon also listed content creators and pundits, including Ethan Ralph, Nick Fuentes, Turkey Tom, Ruben Sim, Mr. Beast, Hassan Parker, Cobson Talks, iDubbbz, Wayne Lambright, Destiny, and Kanye West, whom he solely credited for teaching him violence and extremism. That's the part that got me to PBW. The violence. You said you learned violence and extremism from Kanye West? Granted, the guy has said some things that made me give him the side eye, but I would have never thrown violence and extremism in next to his name. And notice he solely credited Kanye for teaching him violence and extremism. He didn't put that to anybody else's name except his. Now, what we're going to do, let me see. I had to scroll down a little bit. It says, I was so miserable, I wanted to take myself out. I just couldn't take anymore. I already read that part in the last part. He said, school is a daycare. He added, it's just impossible for you to actually think. You say things because other people have said it before, then you go repeat ad nauseum somewhere else. In school, we're taught to wake up early, shut up, sit for long periods of hours, do tasks you hate, then repeat. So now what we're going to do is we're going to read what Candace had to say in response to that, because she has something to say. So this is what Candace said in response to her name being mentioned in the manifesto. She said, it is truly sickening that people would use the death of a 16-year-old girl to try to quickly score political points. Candace, like, you haven't done that. Look at what you did with George Floyd. Already she's being disingenuous. Rather than to responsibly make sure that what they are sharing is accurate, even though they did a thorough check and said what they shared was accurate. See, Candace is trying to say, oh, because they mentioned my name, it can't be accurate. No, Candace, this is the accurate. As a matter of fact, this is the second time that Candace has been mentioned in someone's manifesto. Remember, there was someone who committed a shooting over in New Zealand. Now I think I know why she was banned over there. Regarding the quote-unquote alleged manifesto, it is an obvious troll. Okay. Because the deranged individual plagiarized the exact same language from the Christchurch, New Zealand manifesto combined with other manifestos and writings freely available on the web. In essence, it is a plagiarized document. It would take 4 seconds of adult thinking and or journalistic integrity to recognize this is a troll. On your left, language from the alleged Christchurch manifesto from 2019. I don't have those images up, and I won't pull them up either. On your right, language from the alleged leaked manifesto circulating today. That is how it is plausible that both me and Mr. Beast, who clearly do not share the same politics, wind up once again in a manifesto. It is also explains why this individual, despite his numerous accounts, never followed me or Mr. Beast on any of his socials. This is a deranged troll that is, at least in part, due to the death of journalism. Copycats know that they can gain traction by mentioning what they perceive to be big names because the media will push those names for clicks. I will have more to say on my show tomorrow, which I am not entertaining, as I copied all of the relevant documents and social accounts. So what do y'all think, y'all? Candace is trying to clear her name. She said that this is an obvious troll. They kept talking about bringing her up and that it wasn't real and all this, that, and the third. But I think what really got me was the part where she said that people will use the death of a 16-year-old girl to try to score political points when she's done that herself. Not, of course, with this story, but she's done it, like I said, with George Floyd. I mean, the woman literally went and made a whole quote unquote documentary about it, saying how he wasn't murdered in the way that he was. She just doesn't want to believe it, that someone actually, quote unquote, was inspired, quote unquote, by her to do what they did. After all, it did happen at least one time, we know for certain. That's why we call people like Candace out, because the stuff she puts out there leads to situations like this. Reparation says she should have just said, I didn't make him do this. I'm sorry it happened. Not post anything, because she knows she can't do it. She had, she's always got to have something to say. We keep telling people Candace is not as intelligent as she leads people to believe. 7 says she shouldn't have said anything and just ate this. She wasn't going to say anything. I mean, she wasn't not going to say anything, rather. Someone said he could have trolled from troll accounts. Exactly. He could have had a whole burner account. There's plenty of those. There's a lot of bot accounts on here that he could have used to follow her. And the thing is that, Candace, you are unfortunately a public figure. It's not like people don't know you or haven't seen the stuff that you have said over the years. He didn't have to follow you on social media to be aware of your rhetoric. It's everywhere, unfortunately, especially on Twitter. You can go on YouTube and see the stuff that you said. She thinks because he wasn't following her that he couldn't get inspiration from her any other way. KG said, update, she never addressed it. Oh, so she never made her video. Okay. Well, there's that. And I think she wrote this last week. It might have been last week when she wrote this. She says she speaks fast like her homeboy, but well, you know that she used to work for him. She used to be employed by him. But anyway, let's keep it moving, y'all. You know, Candace is going to Candace, y'all. Let's go to this one right here. I had another article before, but it basically repeated something else. Look at this. Nashville school shooter Solomon Henderson appears to have been in contact with Wisconsin school shooter Natalie Rupnow. Now, I talked about her. I can't remember if it was in a live or if it was a pre-record, but I definitely talked about her. It says the hate-filled teenage incel who gunned down a fellow pupil at his Nashville school this week appears to have been in contact with fellow Christian school shooter Natalie Samantha Rupnow, according to a report. The online accounts of Solomon Henderson, the 17-year-old who took himself out after taking out 16-year-old girl Wednesday, shows tied with Rupnow, the 15-year-old who also took herself out after fatally shooting two at her school in Madison, Wisconsin. Rupnow even appears to have been following Henderson online before she died, a month before he also shot up his Christian school more than 600 miles away from her. A Blue Sky account linked to Henderson also posted an edited image of Rupnow a day before the shooting, the outlet said, without making clear which of the attacks it meant. Another post on the same Blue Sky account mentioned intentions of carrying out a shooting with a second person that day, again without making it clear if it meant Rupnow's attack in December or Henderson's bloodbath this week. Both teens died from self-inflicted gunshot wounds after carrying out separate massacres and showed disturbing interest in neo-Nazi ideology and violence in their online search history. Both teens also revered other school shooters, with both posting about the massacre at Parkland, Florida. Henderson also made Pinterest posts about the horror at Uvalde, Texas, while Rupnow posted about the Columbine, of course, school shooting, according to the outlet. And in case y'all forgot what she looked like, this was her. And look at the images. She has this black shirt on and she's taking a selfie in front of a mirror. Looks to be maybe in front of a bathroom door. And if you look at his picture right here, he's taking a picture with a black shirt on and it's a selfie. I'm not sure exactly where he's at, but it appears to me he could be in his bathroom as well. Henderson also posted a 51-page document expressing violence, hatred towards the small hats, and self-hatred as a black person, which he blamed for him being an incel and a person unattractive to others. It says he carried out the shooting just after 11 a.m. Wednesday at the school. One other student was hit in the arm, so on and so forth. NP7 says, notice a lot of right-wing groups are quiet about this too. Oh, I'm not surprised. I'm not even remotely surprised. So this next part that I'm going over, these were some things that came out a couple days ago. Antioch high school shooter threatened student with a box cutter and was suspended months before the shooting. It says reports state the other student was not hurt during the incident because remember, there was a student they said got grazed in the arm, but the one that he threatened with the box cutter wasn't that student. The investigates, it says WSMV4 investigates is continuing to uncover more information surrounding the 17-year-old Solomon Henderson. Chief investigator Jeremy Finley obtained records that show Henderson was suspended from school months before the shooting that claimed the life of a 16-year-old girl and himself. Disciplinary records show that on October 24th, 2024, the teen was disciplined for bringing a box cutter to school and threatening to harm another student with it. The identity of the other student is not listed in the report. However, the report does indicate they were not hurt. The records also show that the location of the box cutter threat was in the cafeteria, the same location where Wednesday's deadly shooting took place. As a result of this incident, the records indicate that Henderson was suspended for 2 days. Wow, only 2 days? He bought a box cutter. They were going to suspend him. He should have been suspended for at least 2 weeks. Now, the last thing I'm going to bring up is this one right here, and then I'll drop the link in the chat. So this one right here was posted on the 28th. This by far, I think, is the most recent article to come out about this story. History of police calls to home where Antioch High School shooter suspect lived. Fox News 17 is learning that Metro Nashville police responded to the home where the suspected Antioch High School shooter lived, Solomon Henderson, multiple times in the last several years. In October of 2021, police call logs show a report of a runaway juvenile from the house in Antioch off Carefree Lane. The minor returned home the next day, according to MNPD. Police believe Henderson was living at the residence at the time, but there is no confirmation since property records show the house is likely being rented. It is also unclear if Henderson was the minor reported to be missing. In 2023, MNPD confirmed officers confiscated 2 guns from the home where they said Henderson was living at the time. Those weapons were registered to adults and are still in police custody. MNPD would not go into detail on the incident because it again involved a minor. Also in 2023, police records show a suspected stolen vehicle was recovered at the address. A call from an auto recovery company to MNPD details the stolen car out of California being located by GPS tracking. Fox 17 has obtained 2 in-depth writings that detectives are investigating as possibly from the shooter. In one diary entry, the writer mentions his home being searched, saying, "I had my house raided once they found a gun. It was mine, LOL. My dad took the blame." Another post dated back to last November said, "Going to court at 1 p.m. After last Wednesday's shooting in the school cafeteria that took the life of a 16-year-old girl, police searched Henderson's home again, but didn't find any weapons. Detectives have been in contact with at least one of Henderson's parents. Brother man said, can the minor get probation? Yeah, they can get probation. The minor can go to jail for get charged as an adult. If they can get charged as an adult, they can definitely get probation. So that was the last article right there, y'all. And I definitely want to hear from you. So let me go ahead and move this over to the single screen right quick and drop the link in the chat. And if anyone would like to come up and speak to this, I know this was a lot of information, a lot to deal with, a lot to talk about. Hold on, y'all. Let me get my timer together. All right. The first person coming up is Wallow. What's going on?
What's going on, Torian? What's going on in the chat? First off, I want to send my condolences to the young girl who lost her life and also those kids that saw that incident because, you know, seeing something like that at that age, you shouldn't be seeing. So my condolences to them. This was a sick individual to do what he did at school. For some reason, he wanted to be anti-black to us for what? You want to, I don't understand, but I don't want to understand. But one thing that I learned was when I found out also when he was talking to that girl, I was like, wait a minute, I thought she didn't like black people. So why was she talking to you?
Because they had the same ideologies. That's probably.
I was like, you know what? I said, PC gonna PC. And I'm gonna say this for Miss Niecy. Most likely that Natalie girl like that BBC for Miss Niecy. Let me stop. But anyway, Niecy gonna get me. But Kansas, you better be glad this wasn't a white boy, because if it was a white boy or a white girl who brought your name up, oh, you be done. Cause the FBI be coming to Nashville, and I'm gonna land my plane there.
All right. Appreciate you coming up, Wallow. And that's the crazy part, because again, this happened in Tennessee, in Antioch. And we know where, and Candace lives in Nashville. So they was literally in the same state when this happened. Well, I don't know if she was home, because you know that woman likes to be on the move. All right, next up we got AW1. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Torian? What's going on, Chad? Yeah, this is why she's so dangerous. This is why I don't like her. Because, I mean, this is the consequences of Candace Owens, unfortunately. You know, just some of the things she says about Black Americans and, you know, and other, you know, other groups. But especially us, saying, you know, it's okay for us to be racially profiled. You know, and then she was one of the first people when the Asian hate crime stuff came out. Oh yeah, Black people are racially profiled Asian Americans more than anyone else. Oh yeah, she was one of the main ones pushing that. And for the Black folks out there that are saying, "Hey, let's give her a second chance," no. This is why. Because I didn't forget what she said. I know you didn't. I know you didn't, Torian.
Listen, one of the first things I remember from her, and I put it and I try to reiterate it in clips whenever I can, as it's relevant to the story. This woman sat on Tucker Carlson's show years ago, I think back in 2016, and literally said out of her mouth, or was it 2017, whenever, that Black people were the most murderous people in America. She said that. We all heard it.
Exactly. Like I said, and just said that, you know, and then she said, I should just give up on Black people. She said this stuff. People forget that she said this.
She was never with us to begin with. That's why when they say that's why they say when she gets a wake up call, she can't come back. When people said she can't come back over here, I said she was never here to come back to.
Right, and also I'm gonna say condolences to that girl and all those other kids that had to deal with this this nut Sambo bigot. But yeah, I'm gonna just land my plane there. Be one, Torian, and stay woke.
Be one. All right, shout out to AW1. Next up, we got Tyrone. What's going on?
What's going on, bro? Yeah, this stuff is crazy. Like, this individual got a lot of his stuff from off of the 4chans, the 8chans, you know, these message boards that got those minstrel caricatures called We Was Canes and Dindu and Amiramut. Yeah, this individual is stealing from like Wojak to Stone Toss, all types of stuff. I read the entire manifesto, and this individual is hella deranged. I'll give you that. And I didn't even know that he was in like cahoots with that individual that was wearing that KMFDM thing, because they were homaging the Klebo Harris and what's that? Yeah, Columbine stuff. And nobody knows who's his parents, like his guardians. Is he adopted? Did his parents just sit him in front of a computer and let the computer raise him? Who is this individual? And you got individuals like this mindset, such as the Hodge twins, because they were giving David Duke an inward pass, not knowing this nigga's history. You got other individuals like this Larry Elder. I don't know why these people are surprised that goofies like this are out here that will help white supremacists like terrorism. You got that, what's that incel? Christopher Harper Mercer. He was in league with that guy that tried to run over people with a U-Haul, one of them moving vehicles, in Elliot Rogers. And that's a self-hating biracial Negro. While I land my plane, I want people to think about this stuff.
Appreciate you coming up.
Peace.
Tyrone hit the guy. You got the buzzer right as soon as you said I'm about to land my plane. But I appreciate you coming up though. I think it was someone else who said that they wanted to come up. I'll post the link again just in case people missed it the first time. Oh, BOG, that's the buzzer. Okay, you probably missed it. There's a 2-minute time limit now when people come up to speak on topics, because I don't want to drag anything out, and I know people want to like let this thing flow. So when your 2 minutes hit, that buzzer that you just heard goes off. And yes, I do press the phone firmly against the foam of the mic. I want y'all to feel that. I want you to hear it, and I want you to feel that. So I dropped the link again. If anybody else would like to come up, feel free to go ahead. Shout out to those who've already spoken. So I'm posting it again because somebody said that they was asking where the link was. Hopefully. Listen, Savon, this buzzer could wake up the whole neighborhood. Oh, well, look who came up. It wasn't who I thought it was going to be, but I'm glad it is. Sweeping up to the stage, Hurricane Niecy, what's going on?
Good evening, Torian and family in the chat. I was listening to the live. But the only reason why I'm calling up because I heard Wallow call my name for something. I was busy feeding the dog. Yeah, I'm not chicken. Sorry about that. But anywho, this is just a very sad situation.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but something about that reporting, the way the news reported it. Why is he throwing out Kanye's name? That's sus to me.
That's because, and I don't know if you didn't catch it, but apparently in his manifesto, he mentioned Kanye West's name as an inspiration, alongside Candace Owens, all the others. But what was crazy is that next to Kanye's name, he said he drew inspiration from him because Kanye's violence and extremism. I'm like, I said Kanye West is a lot of things, but
he wasn't violent. He was crazy, but he wasn't violent.
Yeah, that's what kind of threw me off. And I'm like, this guy who's been an artist for all these years, you wasn't inspired by his music, but you was inspired by some of the stuff he said, like in the last maybe couple of years.
Yeah. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry about that. I'm gonna go ahead and drop down.
Okay.
Bye.
This Niecy going in on that dog. She said, I gotta drop down because if I don't, contending with this dog, I'm gonna get that buzzer. Well, shout out to Miss Niecy. Shout out to the black guy, the black shy guy for the 2. He said this guy was a fan of Nick Fuentes too. Yeah, Nick's name was mentioned. Nick Fuentes' name was mentioned in his manifesto as one of his inspirations. Now, I'm gonna be honest, some of them I wasn't too familiar with. I've probably seen their names before, but I'm not too familiar with them. Of course, Nick Fuentes, Candace Owens. He mentioned Kanye West. I'm familiar with them, Mr. Beast and all of them. But some of them I wasn't too familiar with. See, Ms. Niecy, you're gonna make me go back and listen to this part of the live of the stream when it's over just to get a good laugh again. But I don't think anybody else will be coming up to speak this evening, and that is fine. We got all we needed to get out of this discussion, and I don't think no one's going to top the last call. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to end the stream here. Shout out to everybody who came through. Shout out to the people that came up and spoke. If you missed the live, make sure y'all go back and catch the replay and leave your thoughts in the comments below. There won't be a live tomorrow. As a matter of fact, the next time I'm going live will be on Sunday. It'll be True Crime Sunday. Hold on. Somebody just came up here. Oh, wait a minute. The live ain't over yet. The live is not over yet. Somebody just came up that I definitely want to hear from, give their take about this. It's not over just yet. And their link, it says device is not connected. So you might have to drop down and come back up. But there is somebody else that popped up in here as well. Y'all love popping up right when I'm about to give my spiel. But anyway, 2 minutes. Oh, Church, how you gonna just go and drop down and I clicked on your name to bring you up? All right. Anyway, let's see who this is. All right, CJ, what's going
on? Nothing much. The guy was like, he listened to Candace Owens.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. It just shows you that these Republicans or these right nationalist movements have a stronghold on a lot of individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yes, that's it.
All right, thanks for coming up. All right, Church, don't drop down this time.
What's up with you, Tori? How you doing?
What's going on?
All right, so 2-minute warning, got it. Just to let you know, I will be on the replay game because I was a bit late on this one. But Miss Nisi, oh my God, that just tore my ribs up right now. That's what took me so long getting up here because I was laughing so hard. But I just want to say, Candace Owens has a new nickname, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to call her the Radicalizer. She's behind the radicalization of people nowadays, apparently. Unfortunately, she's going to have to deal with that title from now on. And, I heard the situation with the Kanye. I think that he was just trolling, to be honest with you, because to say Kanye was anything beyond just being, Kanye.
Mm-hmm.
That's just trying to spread a narrative. And I'm not even sure if somebody threw that into his manifesto. I'm not even sure if he wrote the manifesto. But if he did throw that in there, I think that was just a troll. Because anybody who's sane would know that Kanye he's a bipolar person who sometimes say things that bipolar people do. But he ain't never been violent. He ain't never tried to hurt nobody or nothing like that. So, yeah, that's what I think of it. I think that was more like trolling. But for Candace Owens, you're the radicalizer from now on. Period, point in black. B1 family.
B1. All right, the Black Shy Guy, I actually see it says device is not connected, so you might have to drop down and then come back up because I can't bring you up if that's the case. All right, next up we have Xavier. What's going on? Xavier, can you hear me?
Hey, Brother Torian.
What's going on?
B1 to you, B1 to the family. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So, B1, B1 to you and B1 to the family. Just wanted to make a quick one. I feel like I missed this video, but I just want to give my 2 cents on this situation. I feel like the more I see individuals like this guy and Candace Owens, I just made my peace with the fact that a lot of us are simply lost and will never be coming back. And, made that because you can't bring people like Candace Owens back because there's nowhere to come back to. They already made their stand. And unfortunately, this guy decided to take his to the next level, unfortunately. Anyways, that's really all I got.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing me up.
No problem. Thanks for coming up. All right, that was Xavier. And that's why I said again, he was only 17. So he was like very young doing this. He was locked in like that definitely before he turned 17. That's the scary part. All right, Black Shy Guy. I don't know what's going on, but it's still saying the same thing. It's still saying certain devices aren't connected. So I can't bring you up. All right, next we got Jacoby. What's going on?
Hey, Torian, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Okay, so I wasn't going to say anything, but what I think is pretty much obvious. Words have consequences. The Bible even talks about.
Jacoby, are you there?
I'm still here. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
My phone kind of go into sleep mode. So our words are like the Bible talks about how our words are sharp as swords. And what she said, she can't come back from what she said when she got on Hannity show years ago. And people be like folks like Larry Elder, we know he's not a person who can be taken serious. He's just game goofy. But Kansas Owens, she got the look, she got the appeal. That's what makes her dangerous. And when she said what she said,
Your phone went out again.
that puts a presence in people's minds that they're already confirming what they really want that they want to hear. So she definitely has blood on her hands, and she should be held to account for what she's doing.
Mm.
Um, and so yeah, when you present yourself in a serious political segment, people are going to take everything you say as biblical. No, she doesn't get no pass. So why would anybody be surprised that somebody was going to use you as a scapegoat as a manifesto? You have to be careful what you say out here. Even politicians have to be careful of what they say out here because words can start wars. So she's not as smart as she claims to be, and this goes to show her, like you said, she's not as smart as she looks. I'll land my plane there.
All right. Appreciate it. Well, Waller, you didn't get your wish. Yeah, 10 seconds to spare. But shout out to Jacoby coming up. And next, oh look, y'all, look who decided to come up. We got a celebrity, y'all. Ironically, we're talking about her. She has heard us talking about her the last couple of minutes, and she decided that she was going to click the link and come on up. So, ladies and gentlemen, bringing to the stage the coonstress herself, Candace Owens.
Hello. I know I sound like a man today, but it's Friday. Got to take the wig off and everything, you know. Got to expose that tether hairline. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Doing good.
Oh boy, what a day, eh? I'm glad you covered this. Because as I said in the chat, she loves to tell everybody that she's just out for the truth. I'm like, okay, well, that truth is gonna bite you in the ass now. Look who you're radicalizing. This is what you get for going around with fraud and misfit. This is what you get. Messing around with white supremacists. But we're just gonna leave it there because I guess she needs another wake-up call. You still have no money on YouTube, but you're running around still doing stuff like this. But you know. But before we go, we have to do something fun.
I hope you can do it in 55 seconds.
Of course.
I was busy feeding the dog. Yeah, Mom, take it.
Oh, Miss Nisi, he clipped it. KG clipped it. He clipped it. Wow. I wonder if he got the whole thing because there was another part in there too. Wow. Oh, y'all thought I was really bringing Candace up here? Please, Candace ain't gonna come over here. It's too urban for her. Remember, she only had the Blackest Week Ever. That was a one-time go-around for her. And then she had it at the end of Black History Month, the shortest month of the year. But anyway, what a good note to end the stream on, Black Shot Guy. I don't know what was going on with your you maybe had some technical things, but you know, we will be doing more lives in the future. Hopefully you'll drop in or stop by and everything will be good by the next time. But anyway, y'all, we about to go ahead and shut this thing down. Like I said, the next live we will have will be True Crime Sunday on Sunday at 12 noon, but that'll be on Rumble. Y'all know how it goes. Tomorrow, however, we got a triple P. Yes, we got a triple P. What a way to kick off Black History Month and with a triple P. So make sure y'all head on over there, hit that notification button so y'all can see who it's going to be about. And it's something that it actually deals with one of them people that got pardoned. And I think y'all probably know exactly where I'm headed with that. But with that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Be safe, be warm, and most importantly, be one.